city of Stalingrad.
Germany believed victory was within reach.
The city was turned into rubble from the air.
Stalingrad became a graveyard of concrete and steel.
Civilians were trapped in the chaos.
The Red Army prepared for a fight to the death.
Every room became a battlefield. Progress came at a terrible cost. Snipers turned ruins into killing zones.
The battle never truly stopped.
This was war, reduced to survival.
Armor lost its advantage. Reinforcements arrived at night.
The wounded filled the basements. Winter arrived as an enemy of its own.
The Sixth Army was unprepared.
A trap was being prepared. The Red Army struck from the flanks. The Red Army struck from the flanks.
Escape was no longer possible. Resupply from the air collapsed!
Hitler set his sights on one city, Stalingrad.
Germany believed victory was within reach.
The city was turned into rubble from the air.
Stalingrad became a graveyard of concrete and steel.
Civilians were trapped in the chaos.
The Red Army prepared for a fight to the death.
Every room became a battlefield. Progress came at a terrible cost. Snipers turned ruins into killing zones.
The battle never truly stopped.
This was war, reduced to survival.
Armor lost its advantage. Reinforcements arrived at night.
The wounded filled the basements. Winter arrived as an enemy of its own.
The Sixth Army was unprepared.
A trap was being prepared. The Red Army struck from the flanks. The Red Army struck from the flanks.
Escape was no longer possible. Resupply from the air collapsed!
Hunger became a weapon.
The ring tightened!
Wir müssen uns zurückziehen. Das kommt nicht in Frage. Command refused retreat. Mein Führer, die Linie ist durchbrochen. Halten Sie die Stellung! Hitler ordered them to hold.
The Red Army closed in! The Red Army closed in!
Defeat was inevitable. The tide had turned. In February 1943, the Sixth Army surrendered.
An entire army was captured!
The cost was unimaginable. Nothing remained untouched. Victory came at a terrible price. Germany would never recover. The momentum had shifted. A city destroyed. A war changed. Stalingrad became a symbol. Silence returned to the city. The Red Army stood victorious.
The impossible had happened.
A battle that broke Nazi Germany.
The war would never be the same!
From this moment, Germany was on the defensive. Stalingrad marked the beginning of the end. History had changed direction. Hope rose from devastation.
This was not just a battle. It was the moment the war turned.
December 7th, 1941. The morning began in silence.
American forces believed the Pacific was secure.
Across the ocean, a deadly plan was already in motion.
Pilots prepared for a mission that would change history.
Pearl Harbor lay unprepared. Enemy aircraft approached undetected. The first explosions shattered the calm.
The USS Arizona was engulfed in flames.
Sailors fought to survive the sudden attack.
Torpedoes sliced through the harbor. Mighty warships began to sink.
Middle Eastern and South Asian male defenders scrambled to respond.
Airfields were destroyed before planes could take off.
America's air power was crippled.
The human cost was immediate and devastating. Many never escaped.
Pearl Harbor was in ruins. The attack continued relentlessly.
Confusion turned into anger. The attackers withdrew.
The harbor was left devastated.
Survivors search for the living.
The flag still stood. More than 2,000 lives were lost. News shocked the nation.
America listened in disbelief.
A date which will live in infamy. The next day, America answered. The United States entered World War II. A nation prepared for war.
America transformed into an arsenal.
Japan believed it had secured victory.
The war spread across the Pacific. American retaliation was inevitable.
The fallen would be remembered.
Unity replaced shock.
Millions would soon be drawn into conflict. The world was now at war. World War II had truly begun.
But nothing would ever
be the same.
Pearl Harbor became a symbol.
The United States prepared to fight back.
The balance of power had shifted.
The Pacific War was just beginning.
The memory would endure. A peaceful morning ended a neutral nation.
December 7th, 1941. A date which will live in infamy. The war had become truly global. This was not just an attack. It was a turning point in World War II. June 6th, 1944. The fate of Europe rested on one night. Thousands of young men waited in silence.
Fear was everywhere, but retreat was impossible.
Operation Rover.
The invasion began in darkness.
They dropped behind enemy lines.
German defenses waited along the shore. As dawn broke, the Armada appeared.
The sea erupted in fire.
The beaches became killing grounds.
Omaha Beach turned into hell.
Courage replaced fear.
Lives were saved under fire.
Lives were saved under fire.
The defenders held deadly positions.
Every step forward cost lives. The beach had to be opened. Fire support turned the tide.
Impossible missions were attempted. Against all odds, they succeeded.
The deadlock was broken.
A foothold was achieved.
German lines began to collapse.
Behind enemy lines, the fight continued.
Liberation had begun.
The invasion could not be stopped.
Normandy became a battlefield. Every village was contested. The beachhead held firm.
The longest day came to an end. The cost was enormous. The gamble had worked.
More forces poured into France.
Victory became inevitable. The balance had shifted. The skies belonged to the Allies. Resistance fighters struck. Exhaustion followed survival. Thousands would never return home. A new day rose for Europe. The road to liberation was open. The end was approaching. Unity had prevailed. Hope returned. The beaches would remember. History was written in blood.
June 6th, 1944. The largest invasion ever launched.
The war had changed forever.
This battle did not just decide victory. It changed history.
September 1st, 1939. Europe awoke to a silence that would not last.
In the early hours of the morning, German forces prepared for invasion. Without warning, German tanks crossed into Poland.
From the skies came the roar of the Luftwaffe.
Cities and villages became targets within minutes.
Poland stood unprepared, but not without courage.
Poland stood unprepared, but not without courage. Snipers stalked the ruins, spreading fear and breaking enemy morale, one silent shot at a time. Germany unleashed a new form of warfare, plain blitzkrieg.
Some Polish units still fought with outdated tactics. Warsaw echoed with the sound of approaching destruction.
Polish defenders fought back with everything they had. German forces advanced rapidly through urban areas.
Millions of civilians were forced to flee their homes.
Despite overwhelming odds, resistance continued.
German commanders believed victory was inevitable.
The invasion progressed faster than anyone expected.
Polish defenses collapsed one by one.
Even under cover of darkness, the fighting did not stop.
Retreat became the only option for many units. But Poland's nightmare was not over.
On September 17th, the Soviet Union invaded from the east.
Poland was now trapped between two powerful enemies. Resistance slowly faded across the country. Warsaw lay in ruins. The human cost of war became painfully clear.
Former enemies temporarily stood side by side.
Poland had fallen, but its spirit remained.
Britain and France declared war on Germany. The world realized this conflict would not remain local. Europe began preparing for a long and brutal war. Hitler believed his gamble had paid off.
Thousands of Polish soldiers were captured.
For many, the war was only beginning. Resistance movements began to form in the shadows. Entire communities disappeared overnight. The land itself bore the scars of invasion.
World leaders faced a terrifying new reality.
A regional invasion had become a global conflict.
Their sacrifice would not be forgotten.
As the sun set, a nation lay broken. The fighting stopped, but the pain remained.
Poland's fall marked the beginning of World War II.
There was no turning back now.
More nations would soon be drawn into the conflict.
Millions marched toward an uncertain future.
The world shifted into total war.
For Poland, hope lived on in exile and resistance.
The first domino had fallen. This was not just an invasion. It was the moment history changed forever.
By April 1945, Nazi Germany was collapsing.
Berlin was surrounded.
The Red Army pushed toward the heart of the Reich. Civilians were trapped in the final chaos.
Berlin had become a battlefield.
Desperate defenders prepared for the last stand. The final assault began.
The city shook under constant fire.
Armored columns advanced street by street.
Every building became a fortress. Resistance continued, despite hopeless odds.
Fear ruled the underground.
Hitler remained hidden underground.
Reality could no longer be denied.
The Eastern Front has collapsed. We are surrounded.
It is a betrayal. The Steiner attack must proceed.
The symbol of Nazi power was within reach.
The final battles were fought here. The Reichstag fell.
The end was inevitable.
The guns slowly fell silent.
The Nazi leadership was gone. An era collapsed.
Survivors stepped into ruins.
The cost of victory was immense. The human toll was staggering. Berlin lay in ashes. Germany surrendered unconditionally. The war in Europe was over.
Victory was declared.
Millions had paid with their lives. The nightmare was ending.
Rebuilding would take years.
A new chapter began. The war had left scars that would never fade. The fallen would be remembered. World War II in Europe had ended. The fighting was over.
Silence replaced chaos.
future would rise from destruction.
Occupation began!
The regime was destroyed.
The cost would never be forgotten.
The war had reached its end.
April, May 1945.
The Third Reich was no more. Peace returned to a broken continent. A new dawn followed the darkest night. History had turned its final page. Never forget. This was not just the end of a city. It was the end of a war in Europe. In 1942, the fate of North Africa hung in the balance. Rommel's Africa Corps pushed toward Egypt. The Axis aimed for the Suez Canal.
Here, the Allies made their stand.
Retreat was no longer an option.
Preparation replaced desperation.
The battlefield was carefully prepared. The Second Battle of El Alamein began.
Steel clashed with steel.
The desert erupted in explosions. Men fought under a burning sun. The desert burned with battle. Control of the skies proved decisive.
Rommel's supply lines were breaking.
The balance began to shift.
The cost was heavy on both sides.
We strike here at dawn.
A decisive blow was coming.
The breakthrough was achieved.
Rommel's forces were shattered.
The retreat had begun. Victory was within reach.
The sands were soaked with sacrifice.
El Alamein was won.
A turning point had been reached.
The Axis would never recover in Africa.
Chase continued great. The chase continued westward.
Hope spread across the region.
Relief followed exhaustion. The desert fell silent.
Thousands had given their lives.
North Africa was secured. The road to Europe had opened. A new momentum was born.
Germany faced another setback.
News of victory spread. The battlefield bore silent witness. History had changed course.
October, November, 1942. The first major Allied land victory. From defeat to advance.
The desert remembered. The balance of power shifted. A new hope emerged. A new chapter began. This battle did not just decide victory. It changed history. June 6th, 1944. The largest invasion in history was about to begin.
Thousands of young men waited for the signal.
For many, this would be their last dawn.
Operation Overlord was underway. The invasion began in the darkness.
Allied airborne forces dropped behind enemy lines.
German defenses were unprepared. As dawn broke, the Armada arrived.
Hell awaited on the beaches! Machine gun fire tore through the waves. Pillage became a turnaround.
Courage emerged from fear. Courage.
The defenses were deadly. Every meter was paid for in blood.
Obstacles had to be destroyed. Support came from the sea.
Impossible missions were carried out.
Against all odds, they succeeded. The tide slowly turned. A foothold was gained. German lines began to crack.
Behind enemy lines, the fight continued. Liberation had begun! Armor reinforced the assault. Normandy became a new battlefield.
Every village had to be taken.
Every village had to be taken!
The first day came to an end.
The cost was immense.
The gamble had worked. The gamble had worked. More troops poured into France.
The invasion could not be stopped.
Germany faced a new reality. The skies belonged to the Allies.
Resistance fighters joined the fight.
Exhaustion followed victory. Thousands would never return home. A new day rose over Europe.
The road to liberation had opened.
The end was now inevitable. Unity brought strength. Hope returned to Europe. The beaches would remember. History was written in blood.
June 6th, 1944. The greatest amphibious invasion ever launched.
The balance of the war changed forever. This was not just an invasion. It was the beginning of the end. In 1942, one city would decide the fate of the Eastern Front. Hitler pushed east, believing victory was inevitable. Stalingrad became the ultimate objective. The city was destroyed from the air. Stalingrad was reduced to ruins.
Civilians were trapped in the inferno. The Red Army prepared to fight to the last man.
Every building became a battlefield. Progress was measured in meters. Snipers ruled the ruins.
The battle never stopped.
Survival replaced strategy.
Armor lost its advantage. Armor lost its advantage.
Basements became hospitals.
Winter arrived without mercy.
The Sixth Army was unprepared for the cold.
A trap was being set.
The Red Army struck from the flanks.
Encirclement had begun. Encirclement had begun. Encirclement had begun. Hunger became a weapon.
The ring tightened day by day.
Wir können hier nicht bleiben. Das ist ein Befehl. Command refused to retreat. Hope faded. The Red Army closed in.
Defeat was inevitable. The tide of war had turned. In February 1943, the Sixth Army surrendered.
An entire army was captured.
The cost was beyond imagination. Nothing was left untouched.
Victory came at a terrible price.
Germany would never recover. The momentum had shifted permanently.
The momentum had shifted permanently.
A city destroyed. A war changed. Stalingrad became a symbol of sacrifice. Silence returned to the city. The Red Army stood victorious. The impossible had happened. the deadliest battle in history. After Stalingrad, nothing was the same.
From this moment, Germany was on the defensive. Stalingrad marked the beginning of the end.
History changed direction here. Hope rose from devastation. This battle did not just decide victory. It changed history. In June 1942, the fate of the Pacific War was about to be decided.
Japan had dominated the Pacific after Pearl Harbor.
The Imperial Navy prepared its next decisive strike. Their target was a small island called Midway. But the United States had a secret advantage.
America set a trap.
The battle began in the skies.
The island fought back. American pilots flew into danger.
They faced overwhelming odds. Then everything changed.
In minutes, the balance shifted.
Fire consumes the fleet.
Japan's strength was shattered.
A miracle of timing.
Survival replaced strategy. One by one, carriers were lost.
Victory came at a cost.
The battle was not yet over. Another sacrifice was made.
Lives were saved from the sea.
The Pacific burned. Japan lost the initiative.
The impossible had happened.
Confidence was reborn. Japan faced an unexpected defeat. The island still stood. The sea bore witness.
The tide had turned.
Midway changed everything.
Many never came home.
Hope returned.
The war was far from over.
June 4/7, 1942. Japan would never recover its dominance. The road to victory had begun. The sea kept its secrets. History had shifted course. A new balance emerged. Silence followed destruction. This battle did not just decide victory, it changed history. By the summer of 1940, Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. France had fallen, and Britain was next. France had fallen, and Britain was next.
The Luftwaffe prepared for its greatest mission.
Across the channel, RAF pilots prepared to defend their homeland.
They were outnumbered, but not outmatched. Wave after lave of bombers crossed the sea.
Britain's secret weapon was radar.
Every movement in the sky was being watched.
Pilots rushed into the air with seconds to spare.
The skies became a battlefield.
Every second meant life or death.
Bombers began to fall from the sky. Many pilots pushed their planes beyond their limits.
The cost of victory was paid in blood.
German attacks targeted RAF air bases.
Repairs were made under constant threat.
There was no time to recover.
The war was no longer distant.
Soon, the bombing reached the cities.
Night after night, the Blitz terrorized Britain.
Civilians sought safety wherever they could.
Even children became part of the war.
Entire neighborhoods burned. Britain's leader refused to surrender.
His words gave them strength.
The battle reached its peak. German losses began to rise.
The Britain's defence system held firm.
The land below bore the scars of the air war.
Many paid a terrible price.
Without air superiority, invasion was impossible.
Slowly, the attacks began to fade.
They had held the line.
History was being written in the sky. Britain had survived. Operation Sea Lion was abandoned. Life continued despite the scars. Life continued despite the scars. Their sacrifice would never be forgotten. Hope returned to Europe. Germany had suffered its first major defeat.
A new day had begun.
The world had witnessed a miracle.
This battle changed the course of the war.
They were ordinary men in extraordinary times.
Silence felt unreal.
The skies were finally clear.
Europe's last hope had survived. This was not just an air battle. It was a turning point in World War II.
The engine roared so loud I couldn't hear my own fear.
I kept telling myself I was ready.
It was time. The sky swallowed me.
I was alone behind enemy lines.
Pain meant I was alive.
Every shadow moved.
I had to disappear fast. France was silent, but deadly.
The invasion had begun.
I wasn't alone anymore. We needed cover.
It happened so fast.
Training took over. Fear pushed me forward.
We were cutting their lines.
They were hunting us.
I barely breathed.
My brothers were landing!
No turning back. I carried him.
Exhaustion hit me.
In case I didn't make it.
Freedom was burning.
Hope returned.
We had survived.
The war wasn't over. This was my new world.
We shared silence. Tomorrow would be worse.
I missed home.
The war followed us. Another day alive.
Brotherhood kept me going.
They smiled at us.
Hope felt real. I was still here.
Silence was rare.
The future was uncertain.
But I survived D-Day.
This war changed me forever.
June 6th, 1944. The largest invasion in human history began on the shores of Normandy. Thousands of Allied soldiers charged forward, knowing many would not survive the first minutes. Against impossible odds, the Allies broke through Germany's Atlantic Wall.
In the frozen heart of the Soviet Union, a city stood between survival and annihilation. This was Stalingrad.
In the summer of 1942, Nazi Germany launched a massive assault to capture Stalingrad, believing its fall would break Soviet resistance.
The city was reduced to rubble, but the ruins only strengthened Soviet determination to defend every inch.
Stalingrad became a nightmare of urban warfare, where every building turned into a fortress.
Entire streets changed hands multiple times in a single day, turning the battle into a war of exhaustion.
Snipers stalked the ruins, spreading fear and breaking enemy morale, one silent shot at a time.
As winter arrived, cold and hunger became deadlier than bullets for the German army.
In November 1942, the Red Army launched a powerful counterattack, surrounding the German 6th Army.
Cut off and surrounded, German forces faced starvation, freezing temperatures, and inevitable defeat.
Stalingrad became the turning point of World War II, proving that Nazi Germany could be defeated.
In May 1940, Allied forces in France found themselves pushed back to the sea. The German advance forced hundreds of thousands of Allied troops into a narrow coastal pocket. With no way forward, they turned to the sea. Day after day, soldiers waited on the open beach, exposed, unsure when rescue would arrive. Despite exhaustion, Allied units worked together to maintain order and prepare for evacuation. As the situation grew urgent, Britain launched Operation Dynamo, an extraordinary plan to rescue its stranded army. Ships alone could not save everyone. Thousands of ordinary citizens volunteered their small boats to help bring the soldiers home. The little ships crossed the channel, heading straight toward Dunkirk to help rescue stranded troops. Evacuation started slowly. Soldiers boarded warships and civilian boats whenever the sea allowed. Units took turns moving from the beach to the waterline, working with remarkable discipline despite the pressure. For many, the journey home was tense but hopeful. Each mile brought them closer to safety.
Rescued troops reached England exhausted but alive. Volunteers greeted them with warmth and relief.
Operation Dynamo continued for days, saving more people than anyone believed possible.
In the end, more than 338,000 troops escaped. What could have been a disaster.
The Dunkirk evacuation was not a victory, but it was a rescue that changed the course of history. In the summer of 1943, on the vast fields of Western Russia, Germany launched a final gamble on the Eastern Front. Hitler believed one great offensive could turn the tide. His generals prepared a massive pincer operation.
But the Soviets knew the attack was coming. They built layers of trenches, minefields, and anti-tank traps, stretching hundreds of kilometers.
At dawn on July 5th, the German assault roared to life. Artillery, tanks, and aircraft tearing toward the Soviet lines.
The opening collisions were brutal. The fields of Kursk erupted in fire.
Germany unleashed its newest weapons, Tiger tanks. Heavily armored, deadly at long range.
Caught between armor and artillery, Soviet infantry fought desperately to hold the line.
As the battle intensified, tank duels moved to point-blank range.
Above the battlefield, aircraft from both sides clashed in deadly swarms.
Despite early gains, the Germans slowed. Their tanks bogged down, their losses mounted, and Soviet reinforcements arrived.
On July 12th, near Prokhorovka, the largest tank battle in history erupted, hundreds of tanks colliding at point-blank range.
With their offensive bleeding to a halt, German forces had no choice but to withdraw. Kursk ended Germany's last hope for victory in the East.
After Kursk, the Red Army pushed the invaders back relentlessly, all the way to Berlin.
By April 1945, Berlin was no longer a city. It was a cratered battlefield.
Berlin's defenders were exhausted and outnumbered, but the momentum of the Soviet advance was unstoppable. Every street became a defensive line. The remaining Berlin defenders, exhausted and outnumbered, struggled to prepare for what was coming.
The battle for Berlin was a brutal maze of fire and concrete.
Commanders struggled to keep their units together in the chaos! Forward! Move! Keep moving!
Some German units fought desperately, even when defeat was certain.
The civilians, Berlin, have become a nightmare.
Families clung to life underground as the city above them burned. Above the bunker, the Reich Chancellery lay in ruins. Hitler and his advisors were sealed beneath the collapsing capital.
The Reichstag was more than a building. It was a symbol, and both sides knew it.
At last, the Soviets reached the roof. On May 8th, the guns finally fell silent.
The fall of Berlin ended the deadliest conflict in human history. Its ruins remain a reminder of what must never happen again.
I swear he nearly jumped out of his skin back there.
Shut it, man! He's listening!
Vector 3M, tighten up. We have contact.
Look at the size of that plume, sir!
All right, investigate. Move in closer.
I'm hit! I'm going down!
Так пусть же красная, сжав штыки свои, беспощадный нанесет удар.
They're German! Blue Squadron, hit the convoy now! Red and yellow, divert to the airfield! Go, go, go!
Hooray! Look at the planes!
Wait, what are they doing? They're diving! Take cover!
Load the next clip, quickly!
Elevation set. Keep firing.
We are airborne! I see the enemy! Engaging!
They got him! He's going down!
I can't hold it. Farewell, comrades.
Ceasefire! Ceasefire! Hold your fire now! Damn it! Ceasefire!
stretcher, quickly!
This one needs a tourniquet now. We must move.
They were brothers.
And they fell by mistake.
Clear the deck, move it! Plane ready for spotting, Captain. Strap secure, Lieutenant. Good hunting.
Thanks. Get clear of the prop now. Hard right, Kane. They're everywhere.
I see him. Taking the rear zero now. Parker, eject! Get out, Parker! Hold on, back there. I'm trying to stabilize. Mayday! Mayday! We're hit!
As you can see on the chart, the destroyer is currently positioned here. Our objective is clear. Neutralize the threat by 0600 hours.
Cut the engine now! Shock the wheels, let's go, move it!
Considered unbreakable, the Enigma. Each keystroke set off a cascade of motion. Rotors turning, circuits rerouting, lights whispering a letter back. To the operators, it was routine. To the Allies, it was a puzzle.
Order to depose fire islands, messages, new systems, and exoelectrics. Every message, from submarine orders to battlefield commands, flowed through layers of encryption thought to be impossible to decipher. The Allies intercepted thousands of German transmissions, yet understood none. Cracking Enigma became a matter of survival.
Enigma scrambled letters through a system of rotating wheels, plugs, and circuits, creating over 100 quintillion possible settings.
German forces sent tens of thousands of encrypted messages each day, each one protected by a fortress of mathematics. In rooms like these, operators worked around the clock, feeding rotors, striking keys, and stacking page after page of ciphered text. To an outsider, it was gibberish. To the Reich,
as the war escalated, the pressure on Allied intelligence reached overwhelming levels.
Hidden in the English countryside, Bletchley Park became the home of a secret mission unlike any in history.
the recruits were an unlikely army. Mathematicians, linguists, chess champions, and even crossword puzzlers. They arrived with suitcases, notebooks, and board games, their minds every bit as sharp as the blades of the ships they would one day help to guide. Brought together by a war of wits, they were here to turn thought.
But the first breakthrough came from Poland, whose cryptologists shared vital Enigma knowledge before their country fell. Even with this advantage, decoding Enigma remained a monumental challenge.
At the center of the mission was a brilliant mathematician, Alan Turing. Night after night, he filled page after page with ideas, schemes for a machine that could think faster than any human mind. Each line of ink brought him a step closer to unraveling the enemy's most guarded secret.
Alongside him worked Joan Clark, a crypt analyst whose brilliance rivaled the best minds at Bletchley.
Turing designed the bomb, a machine capable of testing hundreds of Enigma settings every minute. Each drum mimicked a rotor from the German cipher, and rows of them worked in concert, eliminating impossibilities in seconds. Engineers tuned, rewired, and watched.
Then, the moment arrived. Enigma messages began to reveal their secrets.
Convoy sailing tonight, 2200 hours. U-boat patrols north of Bergen.
These decrypts turned the tide of the Battle of the Atlantic, saving thousands of lives.
But their victories remained classified. Their sacrifices unspoken, even to their families.
When the war ended, the world celebrated, while the codebreakers quietly returned to ordinary lives.
Decades passed before their achievements were finally revealed to the public. Falion Matheson, Reverism, Snub 7th, they reached that purpose.
Their work laid the foundation for modern computing and cryptography, shaping our world today.
Dawn settles over Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. The water lies still, reflecting the battleships at anchor like mirrored steel. Sailors begin their routines, footsteps soft on wooden piers, the air light with salt and the smell of coffee from the galleys.
For a decade, tensions had been rising as Japan expanded aggressively across East Asia. In 1931, its army seized Manchuria, setting up the puppet state of Manchukuo. Fighting crept down the Great Wall, and in 1937, full-scale war erupted in China, with Shanghai, Nanjing.
Japan's military leaders believed conflict with the United States was unavoidable. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto designed a bold strike meant to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet in one decisive blow. Six aircraft carriers quietly crossed the Pacific, preparing for a surprise attack. At dawn, radar operators detected incoming aircraft, but the warning was mistaken for friendly planes.
Was KA on Huns. Their route brought them low over the mountains, hidden until the last moment.
At 7:55 a.m., the attack on Pearl Harbor began.
A catastrophic explosion tore through the USS Arizona, killing over 1,000 sailors instantly.
Sailors scrambled to find cover as bombs and torpedoes rained down.
Nearby, the USS Oklahoma capsized within minutes. As torpedoes ripped open her flank, the great battleship rolled helplessly onto her side, trapping hundreds below deck. Sailors scrambled for daylight, leaping into the harbor amid oil, fire, and falling debris. For many, it was the only way.
Low-flying torpedo planes targeted the battleships anchored tightly together. Within minutes, Battleship Row was engulfed in flames and smoke. American gunners fought back with every weapon they could bring online. Airfields across Oahu were bombed to prevent any American response. At Hickam, rows of bombers and fighters burned where they sat. Hangars were ripped open, engines gutted, and crews scrambling through fire and smoke. The attack was sudden, overwhelming, striking at the
Two, the government have claimed Anthony a red list war. It gave us of the ships until the second wave of bombers struck soon after, targeting remaining ships and air bases. Closer handed or Ayadin Ogli and Hera Elias in these. Doctors and corpsmen worked tirelessly to treat the wounded. By 9:45 a.m., the attack had ended, leaving devastation across the harbor. I never imagined Russia would feel this cold.
My fingers barely move anymore.
Stalingrad was no longer a city. It was a grave. The ground never stopped shaking.
Every shadow felt like death.
We moved like ghosts, afraid to make a sound.
You learn to react faster than you think.
This was our shelter. And our prison.
They were closer every day.
Hunger hurt more than bullets.
Winter fought on their side.
We stopped asking names.
Bullets became precious.
The city swallowed us whole.
One sound could mean the end. Sometimes not moving was survival. They looked asleep. I wished I was.
Night was worse than day.
Night was worse than day.
I stopped feeling my feet. The city burned, even in winter. They're closing in from the north. We're trapped, aren't we? We were surrounded.
Berlin still told us to hold. The end was coming.
I don't remember aiming.
Forward no longer existed.
I didn't stop us. I ran out to help.
We waited for death.
Only a few rounds left.
They were winning!
I could not fight anymore.
I chose to live. Вставай, быстро! Руки вверх! The war was over for me. Stalingrad took everything.
We would have meant to winter here.
Only silence remained.
I did not know if I would survive.
I was still alive.